Coming up on the Paper Talk today, we're looking at latest transfers from Manchester United. It seems like Ugarte could be heading to Manchester United. It looks like there could be a bit of a breakthrough there. We'll get into all that and just exactly what is going on there. Also, Nuzir, get his name right, Mazraoui, he could be heading to Old Trafford as well. What's the latest with that? We want an update on that. Well, we've got one. Get involved. Let's go and see what's happening. Jay here from Stretford Paddock. This is the Paper Talk. As you can see, I'm not in the studio. I'm not outside Old Trafford. We are covering the US tour, so make sure you are hitting like, share, and subscribe. You can see all the content around the tour here in the US. Loads of stories to get through. We're going to talk a little bit about what's going on with the midfielders at Manchester United. Scott McTominay has been linked with a move to Fulham. The latest reports we had there, I think we heard this from Laurie Whitwell and one or two others, that Fulham had come in with a bid around the £20 million mark. That wasn't quite enough, but it does feel as though that is moving forward somewhat in the sense that Fulham are almost there, and there's reports that Manchester United would be willing to accept £25 million for the midfielder. That could get the deal over the line. So they're not like the two clubs are a million miles apart there. You could see Fulham coming in with another bid. That perhaps being done. There were reports that he could end up in Turkey. I think it was Florian Plettenberg was saying that Galatasaray were looking at him, one or two others, but it does feel like that's not really going to happen. There's even been a little bit of rumours and reports that maybe even Spurs could be interested in Scott McTominay, but it does feel as though Fulham are the club that are moving forward, and it seems like a pretty likely destination for Scott McTominay if he is going to leave Manchester United. I don't see us selling him to Spurs. I don't see him moving to Turkey. I don't think he should move to Turkey. I think going to a club like Fulham, we mentioned this before on the other news that I did, or the last news that I did, it seems like a good fit. So we'll keep an eye on that one. You might have already heard something anyway by the time you've watched this, because it is moving quite quickly, but the latest reports indicate that Fulham seem favourites to land his signature. And in what has been an 18-year spell at the club, I think he joined the club when he was, about 8 or 9? He's now, 26? He's been at the club a very long time. Obviously played a lot of games for Manchester United's first team, scored a lot of goals last season in particular. And if he does move to Fulham, I think that'd be a good move for him. But Manchester United should at least get 25 million. To be honest with you, whether you like McTominay or not, I think a player of that pedigree, Premier League pedigree, who has scored goals as well in the Premier League and can operate in several roles in midfield, I think he's worth at least 30 million. But it seems that 25 million might get that deal done. The question is, who's going to come in, though? We can't lose midfielders and not replace them. Well, Manuel Ugarte is a player we have been linked heavily with over the last few weeks, and it seems like there could be a bit of movement there. Now, the Evening Standard are reporting via, I think this has come from L'Equipe, that the fact that Joao Neves seems like he's almost done in terms of going to PSG. It might have already been a done deal by the time you watching this video. We've already had a here we go. Last time I saw, I think Romano was saying that he was almost completing his medical. It feels like that deal is more or less over the line. Once that deal gets done, according to the Evening Standard, and again, this has come, I think, via L'Equipe, then PSG might be willing to offer a kinder deal for Manchester United. And a guy, they want to move him on. They want to get him off the wage bill. They want to get some money for him as well. However, it seems that they're not going to play hardball. So maybe you could see a scenario where if Scott McTominay goes to Fulham, that money is used to bring in Manuel Ugarte. He's obviously a player that we've been linked with. He's a player that we've spoken about a lot on the channel. He would fit right into that midfield. I think a midfield three, if you're going to look at it like that, of maybe Kobbie Mainoo, Manuel Ugarte, Bruno Fernandes. You can see that working. He's not an out-and-out. I did a video on him not long ago. He's not an out-and-out destroyer, Ugarte. He can stick a foot in, he can put a tackle in, but he's also quite good with the ball as well in possession. So he's a very sort of modern deep-line midfielder. Would fit him well at Manchester United, and it looks like that deal could be just getting somewhere. It feels like we've had a bit of a breakthrough there with Joao Neves going to PSG. That is what it seemed like it needed to happen. It would take for PSG to be willing to sell him. Can Man United afford him? Could it even be a loan deal? Because we love a loan deal, don't we, at Manchester United? We're always doing loan deals. That has been suggested as well. But it does feel as though Ugarte to Manchester United is a transfer I think you can safely say you'd expect to happen. It might not, but I would expect it to happen, especially if McTominay does head to Fulham, which it looks like he could. There's a few other sort of weird stories doing the rounds, and I'll say weird. I think there's one or two that are sort of, aggregator accounts have got hold of, and there's like, one or two sites running with the idea that I think Duncan Castles had said that Sander Berge could be an option for Manchester United, which I don't really see that one happening. I don't think we're going to go in for the Burnley midfielder at all, but he was mentioning that could be an alternative to Ugarte, or looking at an option in midfield. That could be one for Manchester United. I don't see that happening, to be honest with you. I think we know who the main targets are for Manchester United. Right, do you want your grooming routine to be a one-time done and deal? Done. Yeah? Do you? Well, thanks to Manscaped, you can, because they have got their new beard and balls bundle. Yes, that is right. Not only are they leading the way in below the waist grooming, they're also looking after your beard too with the beard hedger. So you can get the new Lawnmower 5.0 with the 2 interchangeable skin safe blades, and you can also get the beard hedger as well, which means your face and your nether regions will look the part. And thanks to Stretford Paddock, you can also get 20% off and free shipping using the code Paddock Tour. There's a link in the description. You can get the Lawnmower 5.0, which is just the biggest advancement in below the waist grooming ever, and you can also get the beard hedger, so you can look after yourself down there, and you can look after your face, whether you want a look, a little goatee or a lumberjack thing, whatever you want to go with, you can get it done with the beard hedger. And however you want to trim yourself down there, the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra will take care of that, so you don't have to have any of those nasty little nicks and cuts when you're trying to mess about with razor blades and torches and all that stuff. The Lawnmower 5.0 is the one with the skin safe technology that will look after you, and the beard hedger will look after your face as well, so your face will look the part and your balls will look the part. That's why we call that the balls bundle, the beard and balls bundle. Check out the link in the description. Use the code Paddock Tour, 20% off and free shipping. Your balls and your beard will thank you. One target has obviously been Nusir Mazraoui, who we've been looking at right back. Now, that depends on Aaron Wan-Bissaka, where he's going to go. And the latest reports were, I think this was from Florian Plettenberg, again, saying that the agreement between sort of West Ham and Aaron Wan-Bissaka was sorted. It was more a case of, can Manchester United and West Ham agree a deal? Is that going to happen? There was talk of around 15 million. I think some of these prices are not giving them players away, but they're on the right side of being a little bit cheap. I think if you're getting a player the calibre of Aaron Wan-Bissaka for around 15 million quid, that's not bad. I think the issue there, or the reason you're getting him so cheap, he's only got 1 year left on his deal. I won't bore you again with my thoughts on Aaron Wan-Bissaka. I keep repeating him. I don't want to see him go. But it looks like he is going to go. And if he is going to go, then 15 million quid for a player, 1 year left on his contract, it's about right, in it. In an ideal world, you'd probably want a little bit more. You'd probably want 20 million at least. But if he's only got a year left, what are you going to do? Because it does feel like Ineos aren't doing this thing that Manchester United used to do, where when a player wanted to leave, or when it looked like a player wasn't going to sign a new deal, I should say, United would just wait and wait and wait until he left on a free. We saw it with big players as well. Someone like Paul Pogba, for example, ended up leaving on a free. Jesse Lingard, I think, and his contract ran out. There was players where we had the opportunity to get some money for them, and we didn't take it, and then ended up leaving on a free. That was under the old regime, though. That was under Ed Woodward. It does feel like with Ineos, they're going to do things a little bit differently. But it'd be interesting to see what kind of money they can bring in, because that has been a big stick to beat Manchester United with. We do tend to give players away on the cheap. So is that going to happen with the likes of Scott McTominay and the likes of Aaron Wan-Bissaka? We'll have to wait and see. Potentially, those are two outgoings, and Manuel Ugarte is the one you'd expect to see coming in. So get involved in the chat and the comments and let us know what you think about that. In terms of the injuries, I spoke about the injuries yesterday. We know that obviously Anthony and Marcus Rashford picked up injuries against Real Betis. We heard from the manager who just said, he's waiting to see an update. I think he said it's too soon to tell. Often with an injury, or when the player gets a bit of a knock, you have to wait 24 hours to get a real assessment of it. You might have to wait for a bit of swelling to go down. You might have to wait and see how they're responding or whatever. So we don't know as yet just how serious those injuries are. We already know we've got Lenny Yoro out for 3 months. We know Rasmus Højlund's out for 6 weeks. With Marcus Rashford and Anthony, the latest news is there is no news. We're just going to have to wait and see what happens. It's just incredibly frustrating, as I was talking about yesterday, the fact that, yet again, we seem to be struck with this injury curse. You go into pre-season all full of positivity. We brought in Joshua Zirkzee, we brought in Lenny Yoro. You feel like, we're moving forward, and then Yoro gets injured, Højlund gets injured. Now Marcus has picked up a knock, and Anthony as well. I mean, the injuries are just racking up, and the season hasn't even started. We'll have to wait and see, though, what is happening with the likes of Marcus and Anthony, as I said. Make sure you are getting involved in the chat and the comments. We've got more videos, podcasts coming up. I think we've got Off the Bar coming up soon as well. So make sure you are hitting subscribe so you don't miss out on that. I'm Motty. This has been a Paper Talk. Thanks for watching.